and welcome to Voices of Truth, one-on-one with Hawaii's Future, brought to you by the Kiwani Foundation. I'm Ehu Keikahu Cardwell, and here we are today at the statue of our Queen, Liliuokalani. We're at the state capitol. We have a great guest for you today, so come on over. Let's meet him. Hey, Leon, how are you? Aloha.
Hello, Mai.
Good to see you.
Mahalo. Good to be here.
Leon Siu. And Leon, we're here today in this location because we have something to talk about. We're at the state capitol.
Right.
And standing...
Yeah. Liliuokalani behind us and Iolani Palace.
Exactly. So we've got the palace, we've got the queen, and we're between the queen and the state capitol, kind of guarding things here, if you will, not letting the bad vibes from over here come over here.
Right.
Exactly. All right. Now, we wanted to have you on the show today because you guys have come out with a book very recently, haven't you?
Yes.
You got the book with you.
Right.
What is it? Show it to us here.
Hawaii, the Fake State. And the statement, of course, is that, or obvious, that we consider Hawaii to be a fake state.
So
that
is
is
a nation in
a
captivity.
nation in captivity. And as you can see the barbed wire across here and these superimposed American flag image over our islands. And that's just what it is. It's superimposed. It's not real. And so this book was written by Aaron Ardies, who has been the Attorney General for the Hawaiian Kingdom, Ke Aupuni o Hawaii, for many years. And basically he recounts in this the legal arguments for why Hawaii is not a state, and also for how the U.S. and Hawaii have been violating Hawaiian Kingdom laws, as well as Hawaii state laws, as well as U.S. laws, by simply being here. Wow. And he cites a lot of court cases, local court cases, in which our people have been persecuted, and wrongfully persecuted, and wrongfully tried and convicted on trumped-up charges with no due process and all that. So it's quite a book because it has all of this fact.
So what is the main message of this book, the overriding message?
The overriding message is that lawfully nothing transferred, neither the jurisdiction of the Hawaiian Kingdom or the lands of the Hawaiian Kingdom, no title transferred. And this is key because everything that the state does and says, particularly with the ceded lands case, quote, ceded lands, everything that they do is premised on an assumption by them that somewhere along the line this became legal.
Yeah.
But it never did.
Okay. Well, you know, a lot of people all over the world in the U.S. As well as all over the world watch our show, Voices of Truth, and I'm sure that to some viewers, what you just said is going to sound like a fantastic statement. They're sitting there right now going, how can this be?
Correct.
How can this be?
Yes. What actually is quite interesting, because initially, as you said, the reaction is, how can this be? But the moment you just start explaining it, within the first few minutes, then they get it. Usually people who are not U.S. citizens get it quicker. People in foreign countries get it right away. And they say, oh, okay, so this is a takeover. Yes, it's a takeover. It's blatant and open. And not only that, but the U.S. has actually admitted, and the state of Hawaii has admitted it.
All right, so let's do a little quick recount for those folks.
Okay.
The sovereign kingdom of Hawaii, the Hawaiian Kingdom, was overthrown in 1893.
Correct. And even the term overthrown is questionable.
Okay, so what would you call it then?
Usurped.
Usurped.
That is, if you say overthrown, that means that something has, in essence, ceased to be. But see, the Hawaiian Kingdom actually still is here. It's just that the governance of it and the being able to assert its authority has been taken by somebody else.
So let me see if I got this straight. It's kind of like a wall that you have several coats of paint on. If you peel off one coat of paint, what is revealed that's been there all the time is the coat just beneath it.
Right.
Would that be a good way to describe it?
That'd be a very good way.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Super. Okay. So the Hawaiian Kingdom government was usurped.
Yes.
And so then in 1898, basically it was done by the U.S. military and some rich foreign sugar barons.
Yes, not all of them were foreign. Several of them were actually citizens of the Hawaiian Kingdom.
Okay.
But they were the sugar barons.
The sugar barons, okay. So they got the U.S. military, the U.S. Marines to come
Right.
come on land here,
Right.
and point a bunch of guns and cannons and whatnot,
Uh-huh.
armaments at the palace, and the Queen stepped aside temporarily to avoid bloodshed.
Correct.
Then they formed what they called the Committee of Safety, which of course is an ironic name because they didn't create safety; they created the opposite of safety.
That's correct.
It was like not the
They
Committee
put
of
everybody at
non-safety,
risk.
the Committee of Danger.
Yeah.
All right. So then what they did is they created this phony thing called the Republic of Hawaii.
Yes.
And then the Republic of Hawaii, these guys, it's like if I steal your car and I call myself the Republic of Ehu, then I take your car and I give it to somebody else. And they gave this place to the US. And the way they tried to do that was by getting a treaty passed in the US Senate.
Correct.
But and according to the U.S. Constitution, the only way you can acquire foreign land is by treaty.
That's
Treaty
correct.
is supreme law of the land according to the U.S.
Correct.
Constitution.
And the treaty has to be ratified by the Senate.
2/3 vote.
Right.
100 senators, 2/3 of them have to vote yes. But they didn't when they found out that the majority of Hawaiians were against it because the
That's
Queen and her group of people went to Washington and showed them the Coup-A petitions.
Right.
And they went, well, shucks, if you don't want it, we don't want it. So the treaty failed.
Correct.
And
1897.
1897, and everybody thought, cool, it's dead, it's over.
Right. Celebration going on here. We're going to get our country back.
Big celebration up in Nu'uanu Valley. Yeah, island-wide.
Yes.
But then the Spanish-American War broke out.
Correct.
McKinley came into office, and things changed because, among other things, Pearl Harbor is a deep water port. They wanted to have that.
Right.
And so what they said is, well, shucks, we can't pass a treaty because it takes 2/3 vote. But a resolution only takes a simple majority, 51.
That's right.
So they passed the Newlands Resolution.
That's right.
Am I correct
That's
so far?
correct. That's correct.
Wow, this is great.
And the Newlands Resolution is an internal resolution. It can only affect internal affairs of the United States.
Within the United States, you
cannot-
you cannot acquire foreign territory with a resolution.
Right. And-
Just like the Akaka bill, should it pass? I mean, the Apology bill is a resolution.
Yes.
So the Newlands Resolution passed, and they claimed that was the vehicle they used, the tool they used to acquire Hawaii.
Right.
But it was really nothing more than a receipt for stolen property,
That's
right?
right.
Cool.
That's very well put.
Cool.
Yes.
Do I get an A?
Yes, you get an A. Now, there are two factors I want to review leading up to the point of the usurpation
Okay.
in 1893.
Okay.
And that's what's the motive? What are the motives behind it?
Yeah, why did
so
they
the
do
sugar,
this?
as you mentioned, the sugar barons,
Right.
they wanted to get sugar prices, favorable sugar prices,
Right.
in the United States. The United States was a huge market to them,
Right.
and they wanted to get the highest prices
best price they could.
available. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have to pay tariffs or duty.
Because
and all
there
that.
were tariffs at the time.
Yes, there were, because we're a foreign nation.
Exactly. So they were figuring, we're a foreign nation here. We have to pay tariffs to the U.S. If we make this part of the U.S., we don't have to pay tariffs
That's
anymore.
right. Right. And so it worked out great for them. That's
Yep.
what their main motive was. On the other side, the main motive for the United States was in another form of greed, which was to expand their influence throughout the Pacific.
Yes.
And they needed Hawaii as a naval base.
So those two parties kind of saw it as a win-win.
Right. So they've been plotting this for a while
Mhm.
prior to that.
Mhm.
So the opportunity came at that time, 1893, January 1893, and the opportunity was to have the sugar planters form their committee of safety. Actually, they formed a militia, and then the United States would back it with their military forces.
Mhm.
And so that's how that happened. And those two motives, if you look then in history, they accomplished what they set out to do.
Mhm.
Because Hawaii became a large sugar producer, became very wealthy.
Yes.
Because those particular planters became very wealthy. And the United States, as you mentioned, the Spanish-American War was the first test of the
Yes.
United States being able to use Hawaii as a military base.
Exactly. Exactly. But, and there's always a but, there's no documentation, not one piece of paper, not one shred of evidence
Yes.
that shows that the Hawaiian Kingdom transferred 1 square inch of land in Hawaii
That's
to
right.
the U.S.
That's
ever.
right. Right. It was,
Ever.
It was all stolen.
It was all stolen.
Yeah.
So it's like, I steal your car, going back to Eho steals Leon's car. But when it comes time for me to try to sell it to somebody else, I don't have the pink slip.
Yeah.
I can't
But you
prove.
forge a pink
But I forge a pink
Yeah.
slip.
Uh-huh.
So that's why this is fake.
Fake. It's
A fake.
forgery.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah. So,
Counterfeit.
Leon, what made you guys decide to write a book about this?
Well, many of us in the early 90s began to realize that our country still existed.
Mhm.
And all we needed to do was to reawaken it.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of in a stasis condition.
So you guys wanted to write this book to begin to get the word out to people.
Correct.
That this
But-
is all fake.
Right. So many of our citizens were beginning to be incarcerated and jailed and tried on various charges that were all irrelevant if they were indeed living in their own land,
Mhm.
the Hawaiian Kingdom, under Hawaiian Kingdom laws.
Mhm.
So the state was then imposing its laws on our citizens. So that's why we needed to write this,
Gotcha.
to expose what they're doing and to expose the illegality of what they're doing. None of the courts in Hawaii, the U.S. courts or the state courts, are lawful. They've actually broken their own laws in order to form this corporate entity and to this fake state. And so it's a kangaroo court.
Uh-huh.
And you can't win in a kangaroo court because it's rigged against you.
Because it's fixed from the beginning.
As much as they talk about constitutional law or statutes and all that, they don't apply those
Uh-huh.
things. Honestly, when it comes to the fact that another national is exerting or asserting his rights. So that's why this book has to do with the travesty and the violations of law that the U.S. and the state of Hawaii has committed against Hawaiian nationals.
Leon, let's talk a little bit about your nation.
Yes.
Tell us the name.
Well, the nation is the same name as it was the Hawaiian Kingdom, which is in Hawaiian, Keaupuni o Hawaii,
Which is Hawaiian.
which is the Hawaiian Kingdom.
Okay.
That was the lawful name of the government.
Uh-huh.
And of course, and then the lawful name of the nation is actually Ko Hawaii Pai'aina, which
Right.
is the name of the Hawaiian Islands.
The Hawaiian archipelago.
Right.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The entire archipelago.
Yeah. Okay. And
Yes.
how long have you guys been going?
Well, in 1994, there were meetings that were held by various people and different papers that were filed that basically announced that the Hawaiian Kingdom had returned.
Uh-huh.
1996, we actually filed papers that reactivated the courts of the Hawaiian Kingdom. Now, the reason for this is that you can announce that the government is back or that the king has returned or anything like that, but without the basis of law, the nation still is not functioning.
Is dormant, if you will.
Yes,
Yes.
because you're not really asserting the law or have a basis in which to assert that law. And so we reactivated the Hawaiian courts, the kingdom courts.
Uh-huh.
And by doing so, we actually reactivate the laws, which allow our citizens then to claim a place to stand under these laws. And these laws are supposed to protect them. But as far as, for instance, the Larson case at The Hague, it showed that the Hawaiian Kingdom was being hampered from asserting its own laws.
Protecting its
by,
own citizens.
By the U.S., by the occupation force.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that showed that we have the laws here. We have the kingdom is still intact, but we're being prevented from using our own laws in our own lands.
Because it's kind of like the 800-pound gorilla sitting on
That's
you,
right.
not allowing you to get up.
That's right.
You exist, you're there, you're alive.
Uh-huh.
You've been alive all the time, but you've got this 800-pound gorilla sitting on you
Mhm.
that won't allow you to get up and do what you normally otherwise would do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. The interesting thing about that particular illustration is that how do you move an 800-pound gorilla?
With lots of bananas.
Yeah. You coax him off somehow, make him some favors,
Yeah.
or because you certainly can't bench press him off you.
Right.
And particularly if we've already taken a stance set by our queen that we're going to do this peacefully. However, the best way to move an 800-pound gorilla is to get a little needle, a little pin,
Yeah.
and you stick him with it, and he will get off.
So that's really
And
good
that's-
what you said, because it means that a little thing can move a huge
That's
object.
right, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at just a little prick
Yeah.
that will get the
Yeah.
800-pound
Yeah.
gorilla to move.
And so lots of little needles are in this book.
That's
yes?
right. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And this again is just goes along. It helps to support all the other actions that are going on, the demonstrations, the protests, the letter writing, the sign campaigns, and all these types of things. And the registration of the Hawaiian Kingdom, registration of more citizens, and just the general education. Things like this also go to support that.
What's the next step? What's the next step?
The next step is quite interesting because we're already involved in it, and that is living in the Hawaiian Kingdom. And that is just living as if we already are here.
Because you are.
Because we are,
Yeah.
yes. And this presents a real challenge to the state of Hawaii because it has to somehow suppress it. And the more it does it, the more it gives us a platform to speak about who we are. The other part of this is that we are have been taking this international, and to skip over the United States and its policy making in Washington, D.C., and go directly to the other nations. Not that we're not going to deal with the United States, but we're going to shame the United States, embarrass them into a position where they basically, in order to save face and in order to prove what they assert that they are actually a peaceful nation that want to bring peace and democracy and self-governance, self-determination to the world, then we're basically saying, well, here we are, and we want to talk with you about this.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you want to get them to a place where they say to the world, you know what? We realize that we have to live up to our own laws and
Right,
ideals,
right.
and it's time for us, the United States, to do the right thing.
Right.
Good.
And it's our job to give them as graceful and easy a way to get to that point. In other words, we don't want to be belligerent or force them to do something. We simply want them to suggest to us that, hey, wouldn't this be a good idea if we released you and all that, and whichever way we can do it. To us, if we can offer them a graceful way to withdraw, they will take it.
So Leon, I got a question for you. Who can be a citizen of the Hawaiian Kingdom? Is it just for Native Hawaiians by blood only?
No, it's not. This is one of the greatest delusions or distractions that the U.S. has placed in front of the resurrection of the Hawaiian Kingdom, and that is the U.S. has since 1920 have redefined us as a native tribe, really, since then, and by blood and things like that.
Racially.
Racially.
Uh-huh.
But the Hawaiian Kingdom was never a racial composition. Yeah, at one time we were mostly Kanaka Maoli,
Right.
Native Hawaiians.
Right.
However, anybody was allowed to be a citizen of the Hawaiian Kingdom.
So back before the overthrow, there were Kanaka Maoli,
Yes.
Hawaiians who were citizens of the kingdom.
Right.
There were Haole, or
Haole.
Caucasian.
Yes.
There were Portuguese,
Mhm.
Hispanic.
Yes. There were French, Russian, German,
Yeah,
who were citizens.
who were citizens. So it was a multi-ethnic country.
That's right.
Just like the United States.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And just like any other nation, actually, which defines citizenship as people who are born in the boundaries there, or people who have chosen to naturalize into that country.
Yeah, okay.
So that is still the definition of who could become a citizen.
Who could
a person
become a
who is
citizen.
born in Hawaii
Right.
is automatically, by definition, a citizen of of the Hawaiian Kingdom.
Uh-huh. Someone who's born here, regardless of their racial makeup.
That's right.
Of their ethnicity.
That's right.
And of course, also the people who are descendants of the citizens of the kingdom before the overthrow.
Correct. They would automatically be Hawaiian Kingdom citizens. However, what has happened in the ensuing years during this occupation was that all of those people, or most of those people, have agreed to be U.S. citizens, either directly or indirectly. Or many of them have actually been tricked into calling themselves.
Yes, tricked. That's it.
And so then they consider themselves American citizens. So if you look at citizenship,
Excuse me, what is the saying? We were told we were adopted, but later we found out we've
we
been
were
kidnapped. Yes.
That's exactly
Yes.
it.
Yes. When you go to school in the United States and it's in the 4th or 5th grade, maybe the 3rd grade, when you get to Hawaii, the history books say that Hawaiians overwhelmingly voted to become Americans and part of the U.S.
Right.
And it wasn't true.
It wasn't true at all.
Wasn't true at all.
It was exactly the opposite.
Yep, exactly the
Uh-huh.
opposite. This year is the so-called 50th anniversary of the of Hawaii becoming a state, supposedly.
Right.
So we're going to be hearing a lot more about this as the year goes on.
Uh-huh.
So this is a perfect time for your book to come out.
That's right. Yeah. Let's go back and kind of for our viewers to review where we are right now.
Yeah, let's
and
do
that
that.
is, we left off that the United States unlawfully annexed Hawaii,
Yes.
1898, and in 1900 the United States passed the Organic Act, which then made Hawaii a territory and provided a system of government, and also adopted everybody as U.S. citizens.
Right. Or so they were told.
So they were told.
Yes.
They actually kidnapped everybody.
Yep.
And then immediately there began a long campaign to re-indoctrinate Hawaiian people. And after a couple of generations of this re-indoctrination, some of it was just very forceful. People were threatened, people were told you couldn't speak your own language, and all of these types of things. The culture was really suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
All these types of things to break the identity of Hawaiians into believing they were actually U.S. citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And so after several generations, this was quite effective. However, there was still a remnant alive. They couldn't stamp it out completely.
That little light never completely went out,
Right,
did it?
right.
Yeah.
And so in 1959, there was this a law passed in the U.S. making Hawaii a state. It was sort of ratified in Hawaii, but at the time, the people again were just misled into thinking they were U.S. citizens, and they could be now a full-fledged part of the U.S. by voting for statehood. So yes, there was.
Stop right there. Who voted in that vote?
That's right.
Who
Well,
voted?
There were a lot of people. Who voted was all U.S. citizens.
Yes, U.S.
Yeah.
citizens,
Whether-
U.S. nationals who had come to Hawaii and moved here by then, plus
Correct.
the U.S. military, yes?
Plus the kidnapped.
Plus the kidnapped. So it would be like if a
It's like
bunch
a-
of us moved to Iraq
Mm-hmm.
and all of us Americans plus the U.S. military were allowed to vote in Iraqi elections.
Right.
It'd be just like that, yes?
Exactly.
I mean, that sounds bizarre,
Yeah,
but
it-
that's exactly what happened
Right.
here.
Right. Exactly. And
Yeah.
so this is the problem that the state of Hawaii faces, and that's why it's a fake state, because it was never lawfully ratified, because first of all, there was no basis on which the U.S. could have claimed Hawaii as a territory, and no basis, therefore, for the U.S. to make Hawaii a state.
So, Leon, what you're saying, if I understand you, it's not just a lie. It's a lie on top of a lie on top of a lie
Right.
on top of a lie on
Uh-huh.
top of a lie.
Uh-huh. And as you know, if you went to Sunday school, it's really hard to maintain that over a long period of time. And that's all falling apart now, because
Yeah.
you cannot lie upon lie upon lie without somehow revealing the fact that you're on shaky ground.
Yes.
And so the challenge of the state of Hawaii regarding the ceded lands, this is the lie coming apart.
Yeah,
And
starting
coming-
to crumble.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually falling apart quite rapidly, so that the state, as I mentioned earlier, is very, very desperate to try to preserve itself.
Yes.
And the state agencies like the Office of Hawaiian Affairs are very desperate to preserve that as well.
Yes.
But the whole thing is falling apart. And as we start moving into the international arena, we find that the international community is seeing right through the lies. And so we're beginning to get some really good responses from them, indications of support,
Mhm.
and we're about ready to sign some treaties and with the Hawaiian Kingdom and some international, other people of the international community.
Amazing. Leon, look where we are. We're right back where we started. The statue
Yes.
of the Queen and the fake state of Hawaii right here.
Uh-huh.
So we've come full circle.
I like to call it the future capital of the Hawaiian Kingdom.
Okay, you win. You know what? We're standing between the statue of our Queen, Lili'u, and the future,
Yeah,
say it again.
the future capital of the Hawaiian Kingdom.
Now, let's tell people where they can get your book. They can
Okay.
order it online, yes?
They can order online. Look for Hawaii, the Fake State. I don't know what the exact URL is right now, but
We'll
if
get it
you
and we'll
can
put it on
Google-
the screen.
Right. Okay. Or Google Hawaii, the Fake State.
So if you Google Hawaii, the fake state, that title
will
right
come
there,
up.
it'll come up, take you to a website where you can order the book,
Right.
and they'll ship it right to you.
That's correct.
Everybody needs to get this book and read it. I was looking through it last night. It's a phenomenal book. It has lots of new information material in there, stuff I've never seen before, and I thought I'd seen everything. So by all means, get this book and read it.
And it's helpful for U.S. citizens as well.
Yes, exactly.
They'll start to see that their own government is treating them as slaves.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Leon, mahalo nui
Okay.
for being on Voices of Truth. It's always great to spend time with you, and mahalo nui for
Mahalo.
the work you're doing.
Well, and mahalo to you.
And mahalo to you for watching us, coming right here. You know where we are. I'm Ehu Kahu Cardwell with the Kiwani Foundation. This is Voices of Truth one-on-one with Hawaii's Future. Remember to watch us on the web on voicesoftruth.tv.com. Also our weekly video commentaries on freehawaiitv.com. Of course, it's all part of the Free Hawaii Broadcasting Network. Until next time, ahui ho!